he's not at that adequate level to disturb me. So I wouldn't let that bother me at all. No, that would get me mad.
Despite his recent majority loss to Berwick, Mitch held an 18-1 record and ranked a single spot higher, according to the WBC. He didn't have the same composure or proficiency as Tillis, but he held the blueprint the same. His style, he had great speed for a man his size, and crucially, he also possessed one of the best chins in the game. He truly believed he could beat Mike inside and outside the ring. And eventually, utilizing his innate ability to make things personal, he got what he wished for.
He gonna fight me. The next fight that they gonna fight is gonna be with me. And nobody else but me.
4 days after beating Tillis, it was announced that the pair would collide at Madison Square Garden.
Who me in the ring?
Will the fight go the distance? Huh? Will the
As soon as I hit him, I'm taking him out. They never give me a chance to whether I go slugging.
Mitch Reed wasn't a little guy, and I can see the fire in his eyes right now. Mitch, you gotta get back here before I knock you down. Let's go back to ringside to another heavyweight.
The battle for bragging rights was billed as New York is busting out. For obvious reasons, nobody had really trash-talked Mike by this point, and so Green's arrogance made it all the more exciting. After the weigh-in came the first dose of chaos, as a disparity in purses saw Green threaten to pull out of the clash. However, offered a potential shot at the WBC heavyweight title, he withdrew his threats and chose to continue and fight on.
Now, he has been poking at the fact that he entered the ring without socks and without a robe. Why do you do that stuff?
That's the way I prepare for fights, and I feel like a gladiator. It's ready to fight.
And so, the 5th day of May, 2 weeks before Mike's 20th birthday, it was on.
Well, if he doesn't pose a real threat to Tyson, he definitely poses a challenge. He's definitely the toughest character that Tyson has been put in with yet. How tough? Well, he asked Mike Tyson. So, Mitch Green, a tough kid from the streets of the Bronx and Harlem. Tyson from the streets of Brooklyn. We're here in the Garden. The old days, that's how they used to settle these neighborhood wars. Bud Green was a gang leader. They say he had over 100 men in his gang. But now he needs some of them. Bob Rock, Mike Tyson right on top of Mitch Green. Just as expected, Mike Tyson comes out like a locomotive.
He said he would be the first man to stand toe-to-toe with Mike. And true to his word, Mitch came out swinging.
It's similar to Joe Frazier. Always aggressive, very heartless man. That was some hand movement. That was a three-punch combination by Mitch Green, Ray.
His punches lacked any real venom, as he threw long, slapping shots off his back foot. But with activity and speed, he managed to do enough to keep Mike from completely overwhelming him.
Green got a couple of punches in, but as far as how solid those punches are, there's no comparison. Now Green holding to hit it.
Tyson had control from the outset, winning every round and landing huge shots when the opportunity came.
Oh, Green's in trouble. Those shots to the body was doing his deepest toe.
Astonishingly, in the 3rd round, Mike knocked Green's head back, sent his mouthpiece flying, and also removed a few of his teeth in the process.
Tyson had against Tillis. And what a shot. That is an awesome shot. That was just a jam. It wasn't only the mouthpiece that Mitch Green lost. We have a production assistant over on the other side of the ring. He said in addition to his mouthpiece, it was a bridge with a couple of teeth in it.
By the middle rounds, Mike was playing with it, and would just keep coming and coming all night. The grab grabbing and holding his way to the final bell, Green became the second man to go the distance. Another step on the road to Green. 6 years of inactivity for the other. Battered and bruised, there was no post-fight animosity shown from Green, but the pair's feud certainly didn't end here.
Next time we attack the fight, I'm gonna kill him in the car wreck. I'm gonna give him a whiplash. I'm gonna cast him a big old look at this. Ow!
The next time the pair would meet would be 2 years down the line. By this point, Mike was the undisputed champion of the world after annihilating Michael Spinks. Though, this time, the pair's hands weren't wrapped, no referee was present, and there was no leather pressed against their knuckles.
Tyson has suffered a hairline fracture to his right wrist after a street brawl with former contender Mitch Green. Green sustained 5 stitches to his nose, but hit.
I didn't see him punch him, and he did not knock me down or nothing. I saw him do like this in the world. He comes down like this. And it was quick. Real quick. They got an access wife for permission to do what they do. How you gonna hit a man with a bad hand? The bring us a quick hand. Come on, talk to me. But so much damage on you considering. How did I do that?
The night manager of Dapper Dan's boutique has his own version of what took place.
Mitch kept ranting and raving, and Mike stood up. You could see he made contact. After Mike defended himself, Mitch didn't look too pretty, needless to say. Mitch was on his back, legs up in the air like this. You know, all you saw was his legs, and he's laid out.
In his younger days, Mike definitely was no stranger to confrontation, but this may have been one of his most memorable clashes away from the bright lights.
First match in the rematch, he hit me and he ran. He mocked me. This is gonna be a fight. Tyson, you know it. You hit me, I'm gonna kill you.
Unfortunately, it came with his setbacks, as he fractured his wrist in the process, requiring his October fight against Britain's Frank Bruno to be pushed
The
back.
heavyweight showdown between Tyson and Frank Bruno, scheduled for October the 8th, is now in doubt.
So that you don't have to be a drug addict anymore. You don't have to be an alcoholic anymore. Not if you don't want to be. You can be new. And I made it my point to pass that message on to others.
Ultimately, Mitch Green's story is etched in boxing folklore as one of bad management, drug abuse, and wasted talent.
Ain't no joke. My types used to get hurt. And I still get cold.
An underappreciated fighter who won the New York Golden Gloves 4 times as an amateur, stacking up a record of 61 wins and 7 losses with 51 of those coming by knockout.
This fight, look, whoever, y'all at 67K live ready, man. It's going, man. I ain't playing. People talking about my bet today. Bet today. Now who you bet?
He would retire a decade later following a knockout win in 2005 to summarize a 19-6-1 record. Mike, on the other hand, destroyed Bruno in the following months to be crowned as the baddest man on the planet.
The baddest man!
Challenging someone tremendous skills. They just didn't put it dead.
Unforgettable chapter from a career that continues to captivate boxing fans around the world.
That's the next big one.
God, someone new is going to come out every day. This is the heavyweight champ of the world. Everyone wants a piece of him.
Fight fans, welcome back. The baddest man on the planet in his prime. An undisputed heavyweight champion with ruthless knockout instincts and a personal life almost as explosive as his ring exploits. Roy Jones Jr., a uniquely athletic talent who dominated for so long, fighting and beating the very best of his generation.
If you can still do this the way you're doing it, why not?
Jones only officially quit the ring in 2018, where his fans are salivating at the footage of Tyson rolling back the years with some violently familiar pathways. Fasten your seatbelts for the latest installment of our Closer Look series, Jones versus Tyson.
Do you think you have the power?
Subscribe.
Heavyweight to keep him honest.
Welcome to a Motive Media presentation. In 2003, after stepping up to heavyweight to defeat John Ruiz, Roy Jones Jr. set his sights on one of the division's hardest punchers.
I am pound for pound the baddest motherfucker. I don't know what nobody say. Larry Merchant, anybody, I am the baddest. They can say what they want to say.
20 years on, that matchup is about to take place.
Like Roy, who when he beat John Ruiz opened as a 2-1
They say Trump blocked Pennsylvania.
So interesting. Because you were just this unstoppable force, and Roy was so fast and so slick.
For money or legacy, fighters of this caliber are so personally driven and intensely motivated to succeed. It is hard to keep them away from the allure of glory and doing what they do
This
best.
is a boxing match, it's not a ping pong game. So it's gonna happen.
Hey, yeah.
A undercard filled with celebrity attractions may not appeal to the purist, but the main event could inject some exciting reminiscence back into the sport.
You can still obviously do it. I mean, you are still a really good athlete. You have the speed and power. It's apparent from watching your train.
Over the years, we have seen an increasingly humbler and contented version of Tyson. Through business ventures, popular podcast, and a stable family environment, Mike appears to have finally found peace.
I don't understand it either, but I want to do it. I don't understand. I want to do it, and I feel like I was born to do this stuff.
15 years
Hey,
ago,
they funny
Tyson
as
exited the boxing
shit.
stage
Hey,
with a whimper against Kevin
it's going
McGregor.
down, man. It's going down. That's all I know is going down. So what I'm saying is, I don't know when on down. It's going down.
The initial buzz, rather than the fight outcome, they satisfy everyone's curiosity.
If he's definitely serious about it, I'll buy pay-per-view for sure. There's one buy right here.
In theory, this is an exhibition with stringent rules applied. But Tyson is a finisher, a man who spent 20 years primed for the knockout ending.
And bring my competition with a dinner plate.
Old habits die hard, and he wants to return in front of the fans to remind them of a time when he ruled the heavyweight division with fear.
Get out my way. Yes, what's the name? Now I can't see it.
I don't know, Roy. I don't think age matters with you. It's always going to be hard to catch you. Play boxing. There is the chance that someone could get hurt in there.
They still can move and do things. How could you not want to see what happens? It has to be something spectacular. These are the two biggest contenders you've had in the last, like I say, 4 or 5 decades.
Roy Jones Jr., meanwhile, spent his prime years collecting world titles at multiple weights as a pound-for-pound superstar. Not imparting his wisdom across televised broadcasts.
That 1 punch at a time is never going to work on Lomachenko because he's usually way too slick for that.
Jones acts as a coach and mentor, working with the likes of Michael Williams Jr. and Chris Eubank Jr.
More solid, let me set things up. He's a very, very smart man.
His financial situation, along with his physical capacity, have been called into question, and concerns remain around his current flexibility and ongoing knee issues. The boxing brain remains sharp as ever, but will the body respond? Exhibition-style fights could provide the exact gratification for Roy's post-retirement desires. For a man who was heavily knocked out 5 times in his career, opting to dodge power shots off any version of Tyson is a questionable decision. Jones Jr. won his last 4 fights before finally calling time. More scathing critics suggest he is tainting his outstanding legacy. Jones believes he still has something to offer.
He looked the way he's always going to look. He's that kind of athlete, even X amount of years later at whatever age he's at. You know, he's got that kind of DNA.
Contrary to belief, Tyson will not enjoy extensive physical advantages over his foe. According to statistics, Jones is slightly taller and has a longer reach. No doubt the Florida man will look to use his jab and movement, as at over 50 years of age and lacking the instinctive maneuvers of his heyday, Jones may well present an inviting target for Tyson.
And prepared to do a lot of running and chasing. That was real difficult to get in condition
Do you
for.
think you have the power at heavyweight to keep him honest?
I had John Ruiz to keep him under the night long. He dropped Holyfield and then dropped Roy.
A natural heavyweight, Tyson struggled with the size and accuracy of some of his peers. He would look to pin Jones against the ropes and go to work, as Roy seeks the safety of center ring. After handling the strength and power of John Ruiz, Roy Jones moved back down to light heavyweight to fight Antonio Tarver. Stripping off too much weight too quickly, the fall from grace was rapid. This 4-weight world champion and Olympic silver medalist lost a vital spring from his step and suddenly became human.
I am the new People's Champion, the true People's Champion, pound for pound. And bring on Mike Tyson, bring on Klitschko, it doesn't matter. Because when I hit you with that bomb left hand, you see what happens. Lights are out. It's like David and Goliath. He's a giant monster we know, and I'm gonna know David who only has God on my side.
The pace will be slower, the timing eroded, but when pride kicks in, ring warriors instinctively fire back in anger.
Once you get in there, and that thing, you get tagged once, this hurricane's going to come out. The iron mic is in your mouth. You're going to rip your head off. Look at that. Let's not get crazy. Look how fast he's going. I know. Look how scary he is.
Even though the most ardent follower of boxing nostalgia would admit that this is not a prime affair, it is a chance to see how their styles would have matched up all those years ago when the pair came closest to a heavyweight showdown. With such esteemed credentials, these men are used to winning fights of all descriptions, and the installment of judges adds a competitive element to an exhibition setting. Let us hope Tyson does not become frustrated and resort to the litany of ring crimes that have pervaded his career.
It's dirty Mike Tyson.
I can't believe what I'm seeing.
As Roy's campaign ended and his reflexes diminished, his chin became more open, more available. Jones's restricted mobility will make him an increasingly stationary target, perfect for Tyson to size up and tee off against if he chooses. They should have fought long ago, but now we finally get the opportunity to witness a former pound-for-pound star against a fighter who has shown time and again that once the switch is flicked, you can turn any situation into frenzied chaos. A man at peace, or still the baddest man on the planet. Whatever the outcome, it is sure to be an intriguing ride from first bell to last.
You love me for real, you have to say and say to me back in 2003. Why I want to fight Mike Tyson? Because it was just as good then as it is now.
There comes a time in boxing where the very best need to take that ultimate test. A test that usually comes in the form of facing the very man who looks back at them in the mirror. Sometimes, a test that elevates even far beyond that.
I ain't trying to break you down, for real. You might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My license to be
Jim managed to gain incredible momentum at boxing's highest level, destroying, undermining, and conquering all competition that stood in the gateway to world domination. Now, 35 years from the very beginning, both men will take on the most unexpected challenge of their lifetimes. The challenge to face one another in what will be one of boxing's most exclusive matchups.
I'm so bad that people are looking at us saying they got decisions. So I don't know how to put it in cattle. I just know one way of fight.
So get comfy and buckle up as we take a deep dive into the Tyson versus Jones Jr. showdown that's almost upon us. It was 4 years prior that Mike entered the scene before Roy, but it was those 4 years in which he swiftly racked up countless knockouts, leading him to that memorable night against Burbank where he made history. The popularity of Tyson grew at a rapid rate after displaying endless ruthless stoppages within the usual first few rounds. It was more than obvious to see why.
And he's going to stop the fight. It did not last 20 seconds.
But in '89, a new chapter was born in the form of a fresh middleweight contender, one who brought a newly lit flair to the boxing world. Inside and outside, Roy's slick, fancy style and charismatic persona often impressed the viewers. Mike Tyson was climbing the food chain fast, but where Roy started out his career at middleweight, transcend all the way heavyweight to take on John Ruiz for the WBA seemed to be one of the most propelling moments of his career.
So the predictions of those who thought that Roy Jones couldn't possibly last 12 rounds in the ring with a man who outweighs him by his margin, empty and false.
Speed dial.
With both men proven at heavyweight, it seemed a fight between the two boxing titans was the ultimate fight to make. But whereas back then it didn't come to fruition, 20 years on, it's about to go down.
He's big as heck and he's still Mike Tyson and he still can punch. But 6 weeks, there's no way he can prepare for this. So I said, you know what, I'll take it.
Why come back and compete? Because this is not, you're not playing golf on a senior tour. You're taking punches.
It's because I can do it. And I can do it, and I believe other people believe they can do it too.
A collision of power versus speed, aggression versus movement, ferocity versus accuracy that would be more than enough to make any mouth water. But after dwelling on the thought from a reality perspective where both men are currently in their 50s, we still question ourselves about the moral dilemma it brings. Do we really want to see this? Or does our curiosity just tempt us far more than it should?
Two of the most explosive guys to ever touch a boxing ring. At 54, I want to watch him with the other young guy right now because it's so exciting.
You had this quote that the gods of war reignited your ego. I read that, I got so excited.
That's a really great excuse that I can use.
As we know, with age comes issues. Taking a look back to a similar scenario, just last year when Nigel Benn was on the verge of a comeback against Saki Obika, then and there we learned that recovery clearly plays a major factor in preparation for a fight.
I had to call you quits today. My shoulder started playing up. Couldn't throw no right hand at all.
But we don't doubt both men are in shape and looking sharp for their age. We've seen nostalgic clips of both men hitting the mitts, bringing us that dose of reminiscence from the past. But whereas this is just short played footage, a bout that consists of lean 2-minute rounds will be much different in comparison.
I don't know what are you talking about was not a real fight. You got Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. I'm coming to fight.
Seemingly, it's just an exhibition. Nothing is supposed to get out of hand. But when you pair up two ring warriors that have a burning desire for destruction and glory, how can you stop either from doing what they do best?
I would just tell them it's really dangerous, but when you make up your mind to do something like that, you can't tell them don't do it. They're not going to hear that.
Mentoring and training alongside Britain's Eubank Jr. will be doing wonders for Roy's confidence level. But unlike the good old days, his agility and fleet-footed nature certainly isn't what it used to be. Though fighting just 2 years ago in his latest bout against Scott Sigmund makes him the more fresher man in terms of recent activity. And unlike Tyson's retirement fight, he managed to end on a win. But this is Tyson, the man who, if given the chance, won't just stand there and fight pretty, but in turn make things as uncomfortable as he possibly can. And as we've seen from him in the past, things don't go accordingly, and the need to resort to far more extreme measures may come into play. Looking back through the two resumes, both men have received their fair share of knockout losses as to wins. Roy's started out during his second outing against Antonio Tarver after stripping too much weight too quickly from heavyweight. And Mike's the night we'll never forget. The sport's biggest upset to date against James Buster Douglas. Where attributes and physicalities are concerned, Jones has the height and reach advantage by a small margin, and accompanied by the fact he's seen more activity recently, could sway him towards being the favorite. However, going up against Mike has never been a walk in the park. Being the more natural and powerful heavyweight of the two will likely cast shadows of doubt to whether Roy will even make it to the final bell. They say the last thing you lose as a boxer is your power, and so in this case, it's fair to say that Tyson's punching power will remain more than effective, enabling him to stop the fight at any second.
If he could want to put himself out there for a few minutes with everything I just said, he probably has a good chance to win by knockout.
Knowing full well Roy's movement has diminished over the years, are we likely to see a center ring gunfight between the two? Or could we see something we're not expecting at all?
The animals don't run. The animals don't make excuses. The animals don't cry. They fight, they win, or they die.
Both will come prepared. Both will give it their all to the fullest. And that stance deserved the fight all those years ago. The matchup between the slickest and quickest pound-for-pound star against the baddest man on the planet is not going to be one you're going to want to miss.
I'm the youngest fighter in 108 years to ever fight heavyweight, main event in Madison Square Garden. So to me, it's just a great thrill. I can't even explain it.
Fight fans, welcome back. In just a matter of hours, two of the century's most notorious sporting figures collide. It's certainly a far more reserved ordeal than we might have expected 20 years ago. But even in an exhibition setting, we can expect fireworks. Men are familiar with calamity and chaos, as comes with the territory of being an elite-level pugilist. However, during Mike's rise to superstardom,
There comes a time in boxing where the very best need to take that ultimate test. A test that usually comes in the form of facing the very man who looks back at them in the mirror. Sometimes, a test that elevates even far beyond that.
I ain't trying to break you down, for real. You might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life
Since the mid-80s, two men have managed to gain incredible momentum at boxing's highest level, destroying, undermining, and conquering all competition that stood in the gateway to world domination. And now, 35 years from the very beginning, both men will take on the most unexpected challenge of their lifetimes. The challenge to face one another in what will be one of boxing's most exquisite matchups.
I'm so glad that people look at it and say, they got to speed this up. I don't know how to put it in down. I just know one way of fighting.
So get comfy and buckle up as we take a deep dive into the Tyson vs. Jones Jr. showdown that's almost upon us. It was 4 years prior that Mike entered the scene before Roy, but it was those 4 years in which he swiftly racked up countless knockouts, leading him to that memorable night against Irving, where he made history. The popularity of Tyson grew at a rapid rate, and after displaying endless ruthless stoppages within the usual first few rounds, it was more than obvious to see why.
And he's going to stop the fight. It did not last 20 seconds.
But in '89, a new chapter was born in the form of a fresh middleweight contender, one who brought a newly lit flair to the boxing world. Inside and outside, Roy's slick, fancy style and charismatic persona often impressed the viewers. Mike Tyson was climbing the food chain fast, but where Roy started out his career at middleweight, would transcend all the way heavyweight to take on John Ruiz for the WBA, seemed to be one of the most propelling moments of his career.
This means that I am pound for pound the baddest motherfucker. I don't care what nobody say. Larry Merchant, anybody, I am the baddest. They can say what they want to say.
With both men proven at heavyweight, it seemed a fight between the two boxing titans was the ultimate fight to make. But whereas back then it didn't come to fruition, 20 years on, it's about to go down.
I've seen Roy in a while, man.
Still can punch, but 6 weeks, there's no way he can get prepared for this. So I say, you know what, I'll take that.
Why come back and compete? Because this is not, you're not playing golf on a senior tour. You're taking punches.
It's because I can do it. And I can do it, and I believe other people believe they can do it too.
A collision of power versus speed, aggression versus movement, and ferocity versus accuracy that would be more than enough to make any mouth water. But after dwelling on the thought from a reality perspective where both men are currently in their 50s, we still question ourselves about the moral dilemma it brings. Do we really want to see this? Or does our curiosity just tempt us far more than it should?
Most guys ever touch the boxing ring. At 54, I would watch him. Listen, there's other young guy right now because it's so exciting.
You have this quote that the gods of war reignited your ego. I read that, I got so excited. That's really great excuse that I can use.
As we know, with age comes issues. Taking a look back to a similar scenario, just last year when Nigel Benn was on the verge of a comeback against Saki Obika, it was then and there we learned that recovery clearly plays a major factor in preparation for a fight.
I had to quickly quit to them. I showed the fight, and I'm confirmed whenever I had the tool.
We don't doubt both men are in shape and looking sharp for their age. We've seen nostalgic clips of both men hitting the mitts, giving us that dose of reminiscence from the past. But whereas this is just short play footage, a bout that consists of 8 2-minute rounds will be much different in comparison.
I don't know what are you talking about was not a real fight. You got Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, and I'm coming to fight.
Seemingly, it's just an exhibition. Nothing is supposed to get out of hand. But when you pair up two ring warriors that have a burning desire for destruction and glory, how can you stop either from doing what they do best?
I would just tell them it's really dangerous, but when you make up your mind to do something like that, you can't tell them don't do it. They're not going to hear that.
Mentoring and training alongside Burton's Eubank Jr. will be doing wonders for Roy's confidence level. But unlike the good old days, his agility and fleet-footed nature certainly isn't what it used to be, though fighting just 2 years ago in his latest bout against Scott Sigmund makes him the more fresher man in terms of recent activity. And unlike Tyson's retirement fight, he managed to end on a win. But this is Tyson, a man who, if given the chance, won't just stand there and fight pretty, but in turn make things as uncomfortable as he possibly can. And as we've seen from him in the past, things don't go accordingly, and they need to resort to far more extreme measures when they come into play. Looking back through the two resumes, both men received their fair share of knockout losses as just wins. Royce started out during his second outing against Antonio after stripping too much weight too quickly from heavyweight. And Mike's the night we'll never forget. The sport's biggest upset to date against James Buster Douglas. Where attributes and physicalities are concerned, Jones has the height and reach advantage by a small margin, and accompanied by the fact he's seen more activity recently, could sway him towards being the favorite. However, going up against Mike has never been a walk in the park. Being the more natural and powerful heavyweight of the two will likely cast shadows of doubt to whether Roy will even make it to the final bell. They say the last thing you lose as a boxer is your power, and so in this case, it's fair to say that Tyson's punching power will remain more than effective, enabling him to stop the fight at any second.
If he could want to put himself out there for a few minutes with everything I just said, he probably has a good chance to win by knockout.
Knowing full well Roy's movement has diminished over the years, are we likely to see a center ring gunfight between the two? Or could we see something we're not expecting at all?
The animals don't run. The animals don't make excuses. The animals don't cry. They fight, they win, or they die.
Both will come prepared last dance deserved the fight all those years ago. The matchup between the slickest and quickest pound-for-pound star against the baddest man on the planet is not going to be one you're going to want to miss.
I ain't rapping about it no more. You know, I ain't rapping about it no more. All day y'all to fight, fake fight. Ain't no fucking fake fight. It's a real fight. Shit. Yeah, fuck. It's a real fight. Hey, it's coming. You know, real fight. Hey, can't tell a nigga that. I always think something fake. You hear the fake. It's a real fight. It's coming on. Not on here. I don't know about on here, but it's coming. Playful. God dang. Come on, fake fight. Pay for the shit. You want to see it? Pay for it. That's what you do. If it's free here, look at it. Dang. You know what I'm saying?
He didn't have the same composure or proficiency as Tillis.
But keep saying fake fight. Fake fight. Pay for the motherfucker if you want to see it. God dang. It's coming on at 9 o'clock.
Great speed for a man of his size.
Dang.
And crucially, he also possessed
Hell wrong, man. I'm out. I ain't even saying no more.
He truly believed he could beat Mike inside and
Fight's gonna be on. I don't give a fuck if I catch the fight. The middle fight, I'm fine with the fight, and I'm gonna answer the fight. That's how it goes. Pay for the fight.
After beating Tillis, it was announced that the pair would collide at Madison Square Garden. The battle for bragging rights was billed as New York is busting out. For obvious reasons, nobody had really trash-talked Mike by this point, and so Green's arrogance made it all the more exciting.
That nigga was asking for it. He was asking for an ass. Now motherfucker asking for an ass.
After the weigh-in came the first dose of chaos as a disparity in purses saw Green
Ass for ass working for real. He ugly. Ass for ass working, bro. Gotta get that ass working.
However, offered a potential shot at the WBC heavyweight title, he withdrew his threats and chose to continue and fight on.
You see how many motherfuckers went on that jump? If that jump ain't real, they gonna be mad as shit. They be like, oh shit, dude, it was all here for free. I told y'all to pay for the money. Like, if you want to see it, pay.
The 5th day of May,
You gotta pay. That ain't my stream. I don't know what the fuck stream, but if you want to see it, pay. Everybody wants something for free. God damn. You want the shit, pay for it. They on there talking about Trump, Tupac, all that. You know what I'm saying? They throwing all these. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, I don't know. That's how you settle them neighborhood wars. That's, you heard what that man said?
He said he would be the first man to stand toe-to-toe with Mike. And true to his word, Mitch came out swinging. His punches lacked any real venom, as he threw long, slapping shots off his back foot. But with activity and speed, he managed to do enough to keep Mike from completely overwhelming him. Tyson had control from the outset, winning every round and landing huge shots when the opportunity came.
That's how you smelt the problem.
Astonishingly, in the third round, Mike knocked Green's head back, sent his mouthpiece flying, and also removed a few of his teeth in the process.
Tyson had against Tillis. And what a shot! That is an awesome shot. That was just a jam. That's only the mouthpiece that Mitch Green lost. We have a production assistant over on the other side of the ring. He said in addition to his mouthpiece, it was a bridge with a couple of teeth.
By the middle rounds, Mike was playing with him, and would just keep coming and coming all night. Though grabbing and holding his way to the final bell, Green became the second man to go the distance.
Another day in the classroom. Big left hand. It's Wednesday. Tyson has gone 10 rounds for the second time in less than a month.
Another step on the road to greatness for one man, and a subsequent 6 years of inactivity for the other.
And going to now, I'm telling you, it's fun. I'm having a good time in there. Mitch Green was not a fighter tonight. All he did was try to survive, though. And I was quite disappointed in Mitch Green's performance. He did definitely.
Battered and bruised, there was no post-fight animosity shown from Green, but the pair's feud certainly didn't end here.
Next time me and Tyson fight, I'm gonna give him like in a car wreck. I'm gonna give him a whiplash. Put a cast in that big old hook in there. Ow!
The next time the pair would meet would be 2 years down the line. By this point, Mike was the undisputed champion of the world after annihilating Michael Spinks.
He's down again and in serious trouble.
Though, this time, the pair's hands weren't wrapped, no referee was present, and there was no leather pressed against their knuckles.
Tyson has suffered a hairline fracture to his right wrist after a street brawl with former contender Mitch Green. Green sustained 5 stitches to his nose, but
Hit me. And I didn't see it coming. And he did not knock me down like I saw him do like this and run.
Mitch comes in like this. My name is Mitch, what are you doing? I don't really need this adaptation to you. Down in the street, or in Dapper, in the street. And it was quick. Real quick. And when he hit you like I was, because I was like, hold me, hold me, like, so you get away from me. And so you get away. And he ran from me. He said, dumb, knucklehead, that got an axe rifle permission to go whatever he do. How you gonna hit a man with a bad hand? And bring his own hand? Come on, talk to me. But so much damage on you, considering. Hey, let me now!
The night manager of Dapper Dan's boutique has his own version of what took place.
Mitch kept ranting and raving, and Mike stood up. You could see he made contact. After Mike defended himself, Mitch didn't look too pretty, needless to say. Mitch was on his back, legs up in the air like this, and all you saw was his legs, and he's laid out.
In his younger days, Mike definitely was no stranger to confrontation, but this may have been one of his most memorable clashes away from the bright lights.
First match in the rematch, he hit me and he ran. He mocked me. This is gonna be a fight. Tyson, you know it. You hit me, I'm gonna kill you.
Unfortunately, it came with his setbacks, as he fractured his wrist in the process, requiring his October fight against Britain's Frank Bruno to be pushed
the
back.
heavyweight showdown between Tyson and Frank Bruno, scheduled for October the 8th, is now in doubt.
So that you don't have to be a drug addict anymore. You don't have to be an alcoholic anymore. Not if you don't want to be. You can be new. And I made it my point to pass that message on to others.
Ultimately, Mitch Green's story is etched in boxing folklore as one of bad management, drug abuse, and wasted talent.
My name is Blood, and I ain't no joke. My Tyson used to drink blood. I still drink coke.
An underappreciated fighter who won the New York Golden Gloves 4 times as an amateur, stacking up a record of 64 wins and 7 losses, with 51 of those coming by knockout. His defeat saw him take a long break from the sport, and as often the case, he was never quite the same. A shame, considering he was a relatively avoided fighter before his dismantling. He would retire a decade later following a knockout in 2005 to summarize a 6.
Hey, I said it's gonna be some men that's gonna break their TV tonight. Somebody said, "Man, I broke my back."
But crowned as the baddest man on the planet.
Still asking you to fight and stuff.
Unforgettable chapter from a career that continues to captivate boxing fans around the world.
That's the next big one you're all talking about. That there's always an undercard. Someone new's gonna come out every day. This is the heavyweight champ of the world. Everyone wants a piece of him.
Fight fans, welcome back. The baddest man on the planet in his prime. An undisputed heavyweight champion with ruthless knockout instincts and a personal life almost as explosive as his ring exploits. Roy Jones Jr., a uniquely athletic talent who dominated for so long, fighting and beating the very best of his generation.
If you can still do this the way you're doing it, why not?
Jones only officially quit the ring in 2018, where his fans are salivating at the footage of Tyson rolling back the years with some violently familiar pads. Fasten your seatbelts for the latest installment of our Closer Look series, Jones versus Tyson.
Do you think you have the power at heavyweight to keep him honest?
Welcome to a Motivadia presentation.
Play, I'll come back. Oh, be ready.
Everybody, man, they blowing me, man. Like, it blowing me, man. Like, you saying that it is real, man. It's real, man. Why do people just say stupid and shit like that? It's real. It's coming on. Like, the shit is coming on, man. Dang. It is not real. They've been talking about it for a while. Like, it's coming on tonight. They even put a date and a stamp on it. They did all that, man. It's real. Fuck around with people. Yeah, dang. Hold on. 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay. They at the Staples Center, Los Angeles. Dang. Do I have to put that? Like, come on, man. They at Staples. They at the Staples Center, Los Angeles. That's where they at, the Staples Center. Do I have to say that? I guess that's what I have to say. Dang. Staples Center. Shit. How the fuck is it at 11, man? Come on, man. It's at 11. I'm gone. I'm about to go to that alone.
Not imparting his wisdom across televised broadcasts.
And 100 times is never gonna work on those people because he's usually way too sick for that.
Jones acts as a coach and mentor, working with the likes of Michael Williams Jr. and Chris Eubank Jr.
Hold on. Because I want to see. Because y'all keep playing with me, man. You saying? See, they playing games, man. This nigga said it's 4 hours ago. Get the fuck out of here. Alright, I got y'all. Y'all want, hold on. Let me check something. Let me look it up. Because I know it's on. Let me see. Give me a minute, man.